Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Station Tutorials. Alright guys, I'm going to show you a cool effect here today that I used for the smiley face head of Nicepeter's Superman socks. A lot of you may have seen this technique used in Real Annoying Orange, but I'm going to show you how to do it and do it well, and hopefully blend it to make it look realistic and make it look as realistic as possible, at least. So I'll show you how I went about doing this. Let's jump in and get started. DVC Pro HD 720, and we'll set our sequence to 10 seconds. If you hit space, and that'll kick this to the top. It's just a good way of keeping things organized. Alright, first we're going to start out with some footage that was shot where this was a motion tracking nightmare. This is not how you would want to ideally motion track a head with these features. The black hole in the middle is for the actor to be able to see out of. What you would ideally like to do is put the motion trackers as close to that hole as possible. I'll show you what I did to make it still work. So first we're going to lay in our footage of the head, and then we're going to lay in the footage of Pete singing. If you drag this slider over here and then hit trim to comp, it will trim your timeline to the appropriate duration. So let's go into our motion tracking tab, and we're going to turn on the rotation and scale as well as the position, and our first tracker we will put on the corner of one of our green markers, and then the second we need a significant point is a reasonable distance from the object that you're tracking from your first point. So I'm going to grab this shiny little part on the drum set here, and let's track this information. Okay, and that one stuck pretty well. Let's see here. Just go through these and make sure these are lined up. You don't have to be exact for this effect, but the closer the better, obviously. I did go through and fix these at certain points where the tracker went a little bit off. So we'll get these to stay on that corner point there. And that's looking pretty good. Bring that back. Alright, that looks good. Okay, moving on. We're going to take this tracking data and we're going to apply that to Pete's mouth. So we're going to select the mouth and hit OK, and then we want to apply both X and Y. Okay, now all of that tracking data is now applied to this mouth here. We're going to fix the rotation, make sure all of these points are selected by selecting rotation, and that will rotate all of them accordingly. And then we're going to make a mask here around the mouth and just mask out the area that we want here. Alright, once we have that, then we can scale it down, and once again make sure all these points are selected, because if they're not all selected, then you'll only be affecting that one keyframe. And then we'll change the position, once again making sure all these points are selected, so the position will change for everything with our tracking data still intact. And we'll fix the rotation again. So now you can see that that data is being applied to the mouth, and you can see that the mouth is moving accordingly. Now the next thing I want to do here is to blend this a little bit more. I'm going to make a new solid and select the color closest to the mouth so we have somewhat of the same shade. Select OK. We'll just call this mask, and draw an oval here just around the mouth. we'll select our mask path, size this up, and let's feather this out so it'll match. And we're also going to want to feather our mouth too, so that'll blend. So let's feather that up. And now what you can do here is add a color correction curves, and we'll try to get this to match as close as possible to the same hue of the head by changing the curves out here and trying to match those yellows. It's getting a little closer. Alright. Now you can see that our mask is not moving with our mouth. So what we want to do is we want to copy the position from the mouth, all of the positions, and paste them to the mask. And now all of our tracking data from our position from the mouth is now on the mask. And now what we'll do here is we'll select all these positions and align that accordingly. So now the position of the mask is identical to the position of the mouth. So both of those will move together as one now in unison. And there you go. What you can do is go through here and adjust any flaws that you see if you have any drifting issues with the mouth or the mask that goes off of the head, or if you see anything awkward, or if the tracking tape isn't being covered properly, then you can just go through and adjust this mask by adjusting the mask path, and it should keyframe, or it will keyframe accordingly, so that as you go through and adjust this mask, it will then go from keyframe to keyframe. And there you go. That's how I did one of these shots in supermansocks. Now this is a fun little technique you can use with anything. You can, let's try and match this mouth up a little bit better here. You can do this with anything you can think of. It doesn't matter. Inanimate objects. So that's what you have then. Alright, just for the sake of running through this again, I'm going to run through this real quick on another shot here, and I'm going to go rather quickly on this one, just so you can see how this is used in various situations and how easily you can just copy and paste data over from other sequences, such as the color correction I already did, or the mask, and then just reposition it by selecting all your keyframes. And once I did one of these, the other ones went pretty quickly, unless I had any serious trouble tracking anything, which there was only a couple shots where there was a few issues that I had to go through manually and fix. But other than that, these still shots, or these really short shots, weren't much of a problem. So, and you can just copy and paste the mask over like I was saying here, and then just resize it. Make sure you're selecting all your keyframes again, because if you only select the one that you're on, it's only going to adjust that one. Or if you adjust it without selecting all of them, it's only going to adjust the one that you're currently on. And then I can go over and copy and paste my curves. And since this is outdoor, we need to rematch a little bit and adjust the mask here. I mean, that was really quick. Like I said, once you get one of these done, especially if you're all in the same environment, all indoors, and your shots are lit rather similar, it goes pretty quickly. And there's other ways you can do this. I did have to jump into Mocha for some of the harder tracking shots, and maybe I'll show you how to do that in another tutorial. We'll bring out Mocha, but for right now I'm going to stay within After Effects. And you know, the motion tracker in After Effects isn't the greatest, but you can, you know, use it for what it's worth if what you're trying to track isn't too difficult. So there's another quick shot with this smiley head. Still creeps me out every time I see it. And oh, you saw Pete's nose creep into the shot there. I did have to go in the actual video and erase that out or brush it out. But yeah, that's how you do that. And see you guys next week. And who wouldn't love the bounce, bounce, jiggle break?